Good evening, family. This is Dr. Kia. It is Thursday, September the 15th, 2022, and the time is 3:00 p.m. And I just came briefly just to do something different, and that is to talk a little bit about masculinity, because there seems to be an attack on masculinity. I have so many conversations, or I overhear conversations of women saying how much they hate men, they do not like men, they can do the same thing as men, they challenge men, and I'm just trying to figure out where that comes from, because there's a such thing as a universal law of genders. And the universal law of gender says that there is the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and that these are two different energies that must work in cooperation together in harmony and synergistically in order to have balance. And according to this universal law, the masculine energy is about doing, it's about thinking, it's about exerting energy, it's about building and constructing. It also is more of an energy of reasoning and being rational, whereas the divine feminine is the energy of receiving. It's not giving like the masculine, but it's receiving. It's being restful. It's sitting back. It's yielding. It's being in tune with your higher self and with nature, or having to do with intuition and creativity, those type things. Together, the masculine and the feminine make something so dynamic and powerful. And in order to have harmony, peace, and balance within yourself, then those two energies should get along together and synergize. That means that they harmonize, that together they're worth more and more valuable than they are apart, or the whole is greater than a sum of its parts. Together, it's like 1 + 1 = 3 when you have synergy between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So what do I mean by there's an attack on the divine masculine? Well, these days you hear of men not being able to speak up. A lot of men they weren't for that one thing that has to do with getting rid of our children, the A word, that if you say it, people get up in arms. A lot of men did not support that, and they could not even say it, because if a man speaks up about his opinion, then automatically and quickly women will jump to in defense and offend the masculine principle or the masculine ideology or masculine thoughts. And so it's not just that in that arena where men haven't been able to stand up about laws that they support or do not support, but even in terms of a man saying that there are certain things that he doesn't want or desire for his family, it has become commonplace for a woman to say when a man speaks up, or even for society to say he's being toxic, he's being narcissistic, he's being cruel or mean or abusive, when in fact men think and behave differently. They rationalize. Oftentimes they don't go on feelings and emotions. That's what we usually do. I mean, traditionally speaking, oftentimes they look at the facts, they look at what's black and white, and they come to a rational decision. And that's not saying that they're always correct or incorrect. What I'm saying is their voices and their way of thinking is needed. So for all my sisters that say you can live without a man, please consider that you're living in a house that was probably built by a man, that you're living in a society where the infrastructure was built by men, you're living in a financial system that was probably constructed by men. And although some things that are masculine or that have been created or built by men may have been harmful to us in terms of being mistreated, or the way that it was constructed, maybe the powers that be exploited it or damaged it, that doesn't mean that the masculine principle is wrong. It just means that we need to maybe reconstruct it. But we don't need to tear down masculinity. We do not need to get away from it. We need men. Men are created for war. Men are created for protection. Men were created to provide and to do the grunt work. Why would you as a lady desire to do grunt work with men when it is their good pleasure to do it for you? That's what they were designed to do. And I caution a lot of women, and I challenge us to learn to rest and sit back in our feminine divine energy so that men can step up. Because as long as you as a woman is stepping up and saying, I can do whatever you can do, and I'm going to compete with you, and I'm just as much of a man as you are, men are just going to sit back and stand down and let us get it. Because we're always saying, or often saying, I got it. So I keep hearing this over and over. Men are evil. Men are toxic. Men are narcissistic. I can't stand men. I don't like men. I will not submit to a man, and yet you submit when you open your legs and lay on your back and make love. You submit to a boss but won't submit to a provider or a husband. And in my assessment, submit just means to yield. And so I want to really encourage us to consider that we need both energies, the yin and the yang. It takes both to create life. So although you might, as a woman, incubate and take care of and nurture the seed when it's in our womb, the man had to give us that seed. He had to put it in our bodies, even though parthenogenesis was a thing where women would procreate alone or by herself way in the past, and that's a beautiful thing. We don't operate that way anymore. And so I saw society do this attack on masculinity when they try to effeminize men in Hollywood by making them wear dresses, and when they try to encourage men not to stand up to say anything about it. So now they know that if we can effeminize men, the women would be okay with it because we look at them as a girlfriend or, or just another extension of ourselves. But a man that's effeminate is still not a woman. And you may think that's your girlfriend or best friend, but you have to look beyond what we see in front of us and look at the programming. So they were effeminizing the men, making them stand down, making them wear dresses, making them wear makeup, making them get high-pitched voices, having them to be okay with transitioning into a woman. Now, if that's what you decide to do, that's one thing. But to do it because your programming has told you that's what you should do is a complete different thing. So when you have society doing that to our men, what happens is now it puts the woman at a place where she's vulnerable, because no matter what you or I think, for the most part, women are weaker than men. And what I mean by that is biologically, we don't have the same structure. We're not built the same. And I also mean, when I mean weaker, is that we're more fragile, that we are delicate, that men typically look at us as someone that they would put on a pedestal to provide for and take care of if we weren't trying so hard to be them and like them. So what society did was to make the woman compete with the man, make her think that she's like the man and she doesn't need the man. Meanwhile, she's dependent on her boss, who's a man, or the government, who we call zaddy, for welfare benefits, social security benefits, food stamps, Section 8, and the like. So whether your man is zaddy, or your man is the pastor at church, or your man is the boss, oftentimes we forget that the man that we married to, that we're in contract with, is the one we really should be trying to get along with and synergize with. So when society had the man to step down and effeminate him, he knew that the woman was vulnerable, so that when he come to get us, which is what his plan was, although it is failing, when he came to overtake the society, he would have no warriors to stand up against him. Because even though you have female warriors, the woman's first inclination is going to be to do whatever she has to do to survive. She's going to do whatever she has to do to take care of and protect her cubs or her children. So if Zaddy and his army is coming against her, her first thought is going to be, what must I do to protect my children, my cubs? And if that means to submit to that army, that's what I'm going to do. Now, history has proven that over and over again. Men, you need to stand up for what you believe in, for what you know is correct, and you need to express yourself with your voice. You need to continue to be the men that you are and exert your authority. Women might have a problem with you saying you are leaders or that you have authority, but in a patriarchal society and in a society in which we live, where we have both energies, where you still have people coming against you and you still have some semblance or residue of war and hardship and things like that, until we ascend to higher dimensions, the men have to stand up and protect their families. Listen, if your woman doesn't listen to you, you still, as the man, have to do what you must do, what must be done to protect your home, your children, your woman, your wife, and your community. Stand up, men. And women, let them stand up. Be okay with it. It's a beautiful, amazing, magnificent honor for a man to stand up and protect you. When I saw this being very prevalent is during the times when, especially under the Obama era, but all eras where you see the police attacking melanated men or indigenous aboriginal men that they classify as black. Now, some of this could have been false flag events. I don't know. It could have been, just outright hatred against men. So what I saw, that's okay. What I saw is that a lot of mantras were being thrown out, like, I can't breathe, affirmations, hands up, don't shoot, taking a knee for justice. All of those things are affirmations or spells that you're casting upon yourself to say that I have no life, I can't breathe, that I submit to you, hands up, don't shoot, that I'm taking a knee for justice, which makes no sense to me. Taking a knee is a posture of obeisance, of bowing, of submission, of yielding. It is not an empowerment posture. So this guy that they put in front of you, this football guy, to tell you he was taking a knee for justice, actually was submitting and taking a knee and bowing in obeisance to the flag. He was not taking a knee for justice or taking a stand for justice. Those two things don't even go together. Okay, so we have to think on a higher level and think beyond what they're putting before us. And this is what I told men. Get up off your knees, stand to your feet like the men that you are, and fight or do whatever it takes to protect the women, the community, and this country. That's why we have a military. Men don't get on their knees. That's foolishness. Men don't cast affirmations like I can't breathe and hands up, don't shoot. Men understand that the Constitution for the United States state that it is lawful if your country has a government that has gone rogue and that is against you and that is harming you through any means or by any means. Men have the right, a constitutional right, to create a militia to stand up against those so-called rogue or governmental bodies who are really just a militia to try to control you, to get you to yield to them. So this is my appeal to the men, to be men. Use your thunderous voice, use your strength, use your broad shoulders, your feet, your legs, your magnificent mighty legs that the Creator gave you, your brawny chest. Use all your power and authority to assert yourself in this reality as men and provide and protect and do the right thing, so that the powers that work can never again come against us and take your women and take your children and feminize them and take your babies and traffic them through trafficking rings. So this is a call to the men to be men. We also saw them as Mel Carmine and I were having a discussion, I think it was last night, about feminization of men, which is a private conversation about how they put soy in the foods to soften and weaken the men. Soy has estrogen. Estrogen is what we women have. Estrogen is wonderful, but men don't need too much of it, because then you're not masculine. Then you don't have the testosterone that it takes to provide and protect, to war against evil. This is what you were created for. Do your job and do it in eloquence. Do it in whatever energy it is that the Creator has given you. Because I'm a lady, I may not understand the proper wording for what you all do. And women, fall back. Be yielding. Learn how to stand in your place. You have a place, and it's not competing with men. Neither is it usurping from a man. Neither is it standing in front of a man, unless the Creator has created you to be that type of way, or maybe you're in the military and you're in the army. I get it. Other than that, we are to complement them and work synergistically and harmoniously with them. This is Dr. Kia Pruitt. I had a message for today for my men that I've been wanting to say for a long time. A lot of times, if you say this as a woman, the women will come against you. They will be so upset with you. But these are the same women that will yield to a boss, submit to a boss, rush down the highway to get on that job on time, submit to a pastor, do whatever he says, go against her own husband, give all her money to him, submit to his authority and his rules, but cannot and will not submit to the man in her house that provides for that household. So I'm saying that we need the masculine and the feminine to work together in harmony and synergy so that we can have balance and a peaceful, harmonious home and society. My name is Dr. Kia Pruitt. I've come with a different type of message. I hope I've said something that clicked in your mind and raised your vibrations and help you to see what the programming was and the intentions of the powers that were. But we're moving to higher levels and higher dimensions, and we are understanding that we need both energies, the yin and the yang, to work together in harmony. I love you. Put what you think in the comment section. Click the like button, share, and give us your thoughts for this podcast. Take care. Bye-bye.